I feel like I'm mic'd up for like a sting operation.
Oh god, this is gonna be fun.
Doesn't matter what you say at this point. Well, you already got me to turn one of the lights off because it hurts your precious eyes.
I specialize. She turned both the ring lights on. I'm like,
Takes practice.
yeah, hell no. Now I know why you have a headache.
Heck yeah. Maybe bring your seat down just a hair. Try to sit close together.
I think told me to sit far apart.
No, I was joking. Trying to make sure I have plenty of outtakes.
Close my eyes. It's just... Oh.
We've only been recording for like 7 minutes by this point.
That should tell you something. Oh, God, like I see a ring burned into my retina.
I hate this.
Hi everyone, it's Lindy. Welcome back to my channel. So I have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel all about selling on eBay, but today's video is going to be a little bit different. I have invited my wonderful husband, Matt, to join me in this video because I want to get a different perspective on eBay listings. I want to know what a typical eBay buyer might think. Because as sellers, we develop our listings based off of what we think the eBay algorithm wants, based off of what eBay itself has told us we should have in our listings. But what if we're focusing our energy on the wrong parts of the listing? So that's why I want to get the perspective of a buyer, and he is 100% a buyer. He is not a seller. He has never created an eBay listing before, nor does he even know how to create an eBay listing.
Nope. If you guys remember a couple years ago, we did an experiment where I bid on some lots for her to sell. That was kind of my first experience on that side of the business, but other than that, I'm purely a buyer. And from what I understand about the algorithms, that will get you up front and on the first page of eBay or wherever you're selling, but getting there is kind of really only half the battle, because if you don't say what something like me is looking for, then I'll just scroll right down past it.
Exactly. So yeah, it's important to have certain aspects in the listing for the eBay algorithm to get your listing in front of a buyer. But from there, what is it that we as sellers need to focus on to get that buyer to buy?
To click.
To click.
First of all, to click.
To get them from just a looker to a buyer.
A scroller to a buyer.
And I figured that my husband would be a perfect buyer.
Guinea pig.
I figured my husband would be a perfect buyer to ask, because not only is he a buyer that has zero selling experience, zero listing experience, but he might not be the easiest buyer to please. So I have a list of topics and questions that I have for him, and he has no idea what I am about ready to ask.
Nope.
I wanted to get his genuine initial response to these kind of questions. I feel like that would be the realest information that we could have. I didn't want him to have time to think about a candid response to these kind of questions, because I want to know what real eBay buyers are thinking and feeling when they're looking at listings. And I feel like that will help all of us sellers perform better and make sure that we're focusing our energy on the right parts of the listing. You ready?
As ready as I'll ever be when my wife has a list of questions in front of me.
At least it's not a honey-do list.
I would rather have that.
So we're gonna start off with, what is the first thing you do when you go to eBay? More specifically, how exactly do you search? Like, how specific are you with keywords? Are you pretty vague, or are you pretty specific in how you search for items?
It depends. If I'm looking for something newer, I will generally be relatively specific. For example, if I'm looking for a video game, it's title of video game, system it's on. So Assassin's Creed PS4, something like that. I don't generally say PS4 games. If I'm going to eBay, there's a reason. So I'm looking for something. If I'm looking for an old Billy D. Williams had a bar sign 20 years ago that I was looking for that was relatively rare. So it's Billy D. Williams, the catchphrase of the bar sign, neon bar sign.
So you wouldn't just go search neon bar signs and
Nope.
just sit there and scroll?
No, because if I'm going there for a purpose. So I have a relatively good idea of a relatively good idea of what I want. I won't go, if I'm looking for jeans, I'm not going to search jeans and scroll through 100 different items.
You have a certain brand, a certain size,
Generally, yes.
a style, like relaxed fit,
Yeah,
or
generally. And for the most part, I'm not going to deviate from that, because if I go somewhere, I want what I want. I know what is comfortable for me. I know what I'm looking for. I have an idea of what I want. Now, having said that, I have scrolled through Facebook Marketplace on occasion and went, ooh, look at that. That's kind of fun.
I was getting ready to ask you about, because I know that you just kind of blindly scroll through Facebook Marketplace. Is it not that way for eBay?
That's different than eBay, because as far as I know, eBay is so vast that they have so many products that I'm not going to generally find something that interests me on a page scroll. I generally have to, to eBay, I have to go look for something. eBay doesn't recommend things to me from what I've seen. It might for other people, but it doesn't really for me. Now, if I've looked at something, I'll get emails saying, are you still interested in this? This has gone down in price a little bit.
So you get those emails?
I do get those emails, and I have clicked on a few of them.
Are they items that you've just looked at, or items you're watching?
I want to say ones I'm watching, but I think a few of them have been clicks.
So I guess you kind of answered my next portion of that question. It's really, how long do you scroll? I think this question, I'm more curious as to, if you do that search, how far down in the page do you scroll usually before you find something that you want?
It depends, as always. I generally don't hit the next page. I can say that
You're
much.
on page 1.
Generally.
Do you know how many listings are on the page you're scrolling? Is it like 25,
I want to say
50?
20, 25, yeah. Generally 25, maybe 50. But
because you can say, I only want to look at 25 or 50 or 100.
Because the thing with eBay, I've noticed, is maybe I look at things that there aren't a whole lot of quantities of. But once you get down about past 10 or 15, you start getting things that aren't related to the search you're going in.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Like recommended items based on the search.
Yeah, for example, if I was looking, again, we're going to use that Assassin's Creed thing for PS4, after about 10, 15, they're getting into the games I'm not searching for. And at that point, I go, okay, this is a waste of my time, so I either go up and look, or I back out and close out.
So does it annoy you that eBay starts putting things in front of you that you don't...
That I didn't specifically search for? Yes. If I'm looking for something specific, and they give me something that's not what I wanted, I don't care about that, because I'm not looking for it.
So you might not know this because you're not a seller, but eBay does that specifically if we're thinking about the same thing here. Those would be sponsored listings that sellers are paying eBay an extra percentage to
put up top.
get their items there, even though they're not the exact item that's searched. So are you not likely to click on those then?
If I go to eBay, I'm looking for something specific, so no.
How likely are you to click on a listing if it is something that you've gone to look at specifically for? How likely are you to click on a listing that is sponsored by eBay versus not sponsored by eBay?
I don't know the difference. It's not. I don't see like sponsored by eBay tag generally.
Because usually,
let me tell you what happens when I. How about let's do this. Let me tell you how I search. Okay. So what I do, and this again, just me. I'm not everybody, but what I do is I type something in the search bar. I browse the first 10, 15 listings, and then what I do is I go into the upper right-hand corner. I search for price, lowest to highest.
We were getting ready to get to that.
Yeah,
it was literally next on the list.
I search price, lowest to highest, and then I see, because generally what happens is they'll do that, and then I'll see something has 12 days left on the listing, and then I'll go ending soonest. And then that will tell me the prices of the things that are about to end, and then I kind of, have to go into the game there. Okay, this is ending in an hour. Its price is $40. This is ending in 5 hours. Its price $35 or $30, and then I'll kind of make my decision off of that. How many bids something has? If it's got 2 or 3 bids, okay, I have probably generally a good shot at getting it. But if it has 4 hours left and 50 bids on it, clearly there's interest in that item. Okay, that's not the item for me.
So this leads me to my next question. How much more likely are you to buy something on an auction versus just straight up buying it?
I prefer to straight up buy it now, because if I want something, I don't want to have to fight other people for it. I will pay a moderate premium just to buy it now, and I've done that on many listings.
So would it be correct to say that you would only buy an auction if it's about ready to end?
Yes. There have been a few auctions that I really didn't care about that were low enough that I went, okay, I'll see what happens here, but generally I get outbid. But I'm generally a buy it now kind of guy.
Okay.
I don't get a thrill or the rush of trying to snipe somebody. I don't know if sniping is still a thing or if they've changed that over the years.
I don't know if people still do that or
Yeah,
not.
I don't. That's just not me.
So you usually type in your specific search, you get your search results, then you automatically, do you look at all or do you just automatically go to lowest price first? Rearrange the search?
I'll glance, but generally I'll go to lowest price first.
And then from there, you almost always say what is ending soonest.
Yes.
That's what you do.
My method, yeah.
I didn't know that he did that much rearranging of the search. That was actually part of a question I was going to ask. If you were to search, would you typically rearrange your search by best match? Because usually if you search, it automatically gives you the best matching results. But you just kind of glance at that really quick and then you rearrange the search yourself right away. Okay. How important is free shipping to you?
Very. Because most items can add $4 or $5 to the free shipping. I mean, let's face it, we're used to Amazon at this point. I mean, big bad Amazon, but they do free shipping, and so I like free shipping. I like knowing that something's going to be shipped.
Let me ask you this. Since you rearrange your search results based off of lowest price first, how likely are you to buy free shipping versus charge shipping if the item is the same price?
Then it doesn't matter. Are you talking with the shipping added into it?
Because when you rearrange your search based on lowest price, say for instance an item is $5 with $4.99 shipping, and then there's one right next to it that's $9.99 with free shipping, which one would you be likely to pick at that point?
At that point, I look at the user ratings of that seller.
Okay. That's getting into another question.
Because there's no difference at that point. There really isn't. So at that point, I will look at the sellers, the ratings, and say, okay, if somebody who has 3 ratings versus somebody who has 100, I'll go with 100 every time.
What if the person that has the higher ratings only has a stock photo or their photos aren't very good?
Oh yeah, I've talked to you about this. I prefer an unstocked photo on a used item. If we're talking used items, I prefer a real photo, because that way I can see exactly what the condition of that item is myself. Versus a stock photo, it could come completely different. And then you're getting into the item not as described or whatever that is. Because if they have a stock photo of something, it had better come to me in like new condition, because that's the way that they presented it. If they show me a used photo and the corner's a little bit dinged, I know that ahead of time going into it.
So in that same example where the price with the shipping is the same as the cost of one with free shipping, and you have 2 buyers, or 2 sellers, say maybe one has less than 10 feedback score and the other has thousands of feedback score, would you be more likely to choose the seller that has a lower feedback score if you feel like their photos are better and you can more clearly see the product?
Maybe.
Or does that matter at all?
Maybe, but generally not. Like I said, if they had a real photo versus a stock photo, I might go with them. But then again, you're taking that risk. It would depend on the item. Like again, if I was looking for a new item or a used item.
What if the seller that has the higher feedback score has a lower percentage of customer satisfaction?
That's tough.
Like,
That's
let's
tough.
say...
Thousands of review, but they had 4 stars versus 20 with 5 stars?
Right. Let's say that the seller that has a score of 10 has 100% feedback, and they have a good picture and everything. You can clearly see the product. But the seller that has thousands of feedback only has 94%.
At 94%, I still might go for the bigger one, but if it was like a 4-star, like a 90 or lower, I might go with the other one. 100 versus 85 or 90, yeah.
sticking on that same theme, I didn't have this written down, but this just occurred to me. What if you were getting a better price from the seller that had a lower feedback score?
Yes, straight up. I would take them.
A penny less?
It would have to be at least 10%.
At least 10%?
At least 10% less, I would
so
say.
if you were saving 10%, you would take a risk on a seller that had a lower feedback score?
Yes. And had a good picture, mind you, a good real picture.
But if they had like a dark photo, you couldn't really see the thing.
If they had a stock photo, I wouldn't do it.
That actually is part of a question that I was going to ask later. So I'm just going to skip down there. Are you willing to pay more for an item that has a more professional looking listing? Like, let's say you can get a really good price on something, but the photos are bad. It
could be a scam at that point, I would think. It would depend on how much feedback they have, how many sales they have. You know, if they seem like a reputable place, but you know, their design is kind of wonky, maybe. Because not everybody's a web designer. You know, not everybody knows exactly what to put on there. But if you're looking at a description and it's in broken English, it's not typed out that legibly where you know what the product is, tons of spelling errors, to me that reeks of a scam. And I'm less likely to click on those, to buy those. I mean, if
So you want your title to be like a full sentence. You don't want like jumble of keywords in your title. You want it to be like a legible title that gives it a legitimacy.
Yeah, it does. And the same with the description. I mean, if you're just trying to put keywords in there to hit some algorithm, I'm less like, because I've seen lots of listings where it's clearly from China. I mean, and you know that. But at the same time, I'm like, I'd rather buy from here, somebody local.
Did you know that you can filter your search results by US only?
No, I do not.
Now, as a seller and a buyer, I will purposefully filter my search based on US only to try to filter out like the overseas just junk almost.
Yeah, I'm going to eBay, not wish.com.
Would you, now I'm just starting to think of questions that I didn't even write down based off of our discussion. Would you be more likely to buy a listing that has US seller in the title?
I've never thought about that. Just off the cuff, I'd probably say possibly to yes. I wouldn't say no to that.
Because I've bought from sellers that have US seller either on the photo or in the title.
I've seen that in the descriptions, like in based out of here or US seller. I've seen that in the description blocks.
So that may or may not make you more inclined to buy from them if you know that it's not coming from overseas.
It would not be a no. It would be a possible to yes. It put it in that 50% margin to higher. Yes.
Do you ever leave feedback after you get your purchase?
Every time most times I try to. Sometimes I've had to be reminded to. But I will leave feedback on the shipping speed, any communications that were either positive or negative, and the overall experience. I try to leave feedback.
How likely are you to leave negative feedback if you're not happy?
Very. I've had a few things where I think the very first, this was 25 years ago. I got something. I was buying a DVD set for a series I was into, and it was clearly a DVD copy because the backing was different at the time. You know, the purple backing versus the clear backing. The copies were always purple.
So that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. And like I said, this was my first experience, and I had reported it to eBay, and apparently that seller was caught using a ring of that kind of stuff, and I got $500 deposited into my PayPal account because of it.
No kidding.
I got paid, yeah, because I stopped the ring.
That
was a long time ago. But yes, I will always leave negative feedback if the item arrives broken, damaged.
What if that's not the seller's fault though?
That's always well. Let me rephrase it. If there was no packaging, if there was no preventative packaging, no bubble wrap or nothing like that.
So if your common sense says that they didn't properly package it and it's damaged,
Yes, I'll leave negative feedback.
Will you contact the buyer before leaving that negative feedback to try to make them right?
That's a good question. That's a darn good question, isn't it? That's a darn good question. It depends on the price of the item. If it was under 10, 15 bucks, at that point, it's not really worth it.
You wouldn't contact them, you just leave negative
Just
feedback.
leave negative. It was a bad experience and move on.
So you'll just leave negative feedback without even contacting the seller.
Generally, yeah.
Yikes.
I mean,
We don't like buyers like you.
what can you do? I mean, like I said, if there's
Give you a refund to keep our feedback from getting hit with a negative?
possible, that's true.
Would you be less likely to just straight up leave a negative feedback and contact the buyer if there was some sort of an insert in your package saying, if there's a problem, contact me?
Yes.
But
I
if
would.
there's nothing like that in the package, you'll just leave a negative feedback
Generally.
without contacting.
Yeah.
Dang,
Yeah.
you're harsh.
And I can tell you, and I've talked about this before, one thing that put me in a bad mood already is if I've gotten my item and the next day you send me an email saying, leave me feedback, that's a bad thing.
So you don't like people
I don't want to be
contacting
hounded.
you.
I don't want to be begged for my feedback. Because I'll generally leave it on my own, good or bad. I mean, that if you're hounding me for feedback, no. That's bad.
So before we go any further, I do want to take just a quick second to thank the sponsor of today's video, because this awesome video concept is sponsored by Wholesale Ninjas. And because they are sponsoring today's video, I do have a coupon code for them. The code is Lindey25, and it gets you $25 off of anything on the Wholesale Ninjas website. I do have lots of unboxings that I've done for Wholesale Ninjas because they are my favorite source of inventory for my eBay store. And I know you can probably speak from experience because you've helped me unpack numerous different orders that I've gotten. And would you say that Wholesale Ninjas is probably the nicest package merchandise that I get?
Yeah.
By far?
By far. I think, what is it? They take those pallets and they individually box them.
Yeah, because you
Yeah.
just helped me unpack that
That was
pallet
pretty,
order.
because before we've had pallets where they just kind of throw the stuff on and ship it, versus 10 or 13 boxes. They're a little bit bulky and they're relative, slightly heavy, but nothing. I don't think we've ever had anything into those come damaged. We might have had some minor things
minor.
here or there, but nothing major, nothing broken. No bottles turned upside down, spilling and leaking all over everything.
They've been a sponsor of my YouTube channel for over a year and a half. They are a great company with really good people. So if you are interested in Wholesale Ninjas, I will leave my coupon code as well as links to my favorite products on their site down in the video description.
And while we're talking about the video description, hit that like button.
Ah, yes. See, I always forget to ask you to hit the thumbs up button, but
I don't.
he remembers.
I'm on it. Hit that like button.
All right, so ready to continue on?
And if you haven't, subscribe and hit that notification bell.
Look at you go.
Proceed.
When scrolling, looking for the item that you're wanting to purchase, what is more important to you, the price or the photo?
Price to start, photo to finish.
Okay.
Price hooks me, and then I look at photo. And again, that's the whole stock versus real photo thing. And then after that, if we have comparable things, again, we go to seller. Price, photo, seller.
Would you be willing to pay more for a product that sells on Amazon?
No. And that's kind of, I go to eBay to look for a discount. And that was kind of, I was thinking about this the other day. I was talking to Lindey, this was irrelevant to this. I was telling her, I was like, why would I go to eBay to buy something used that I can literally go to Amazon or Walmart and buy brand new? I've seen that on more than one occasion. And more power to you if you make that sale. Good on you. But I've seen things on eBay 10, 20% more, and they sell. And I'm like, go down to your local Walmart. It's right there. Your competition is literally Amazon and Walmart. If you don't beat them on price, for me, I mean, there are some people who will do that. But if I can just walk down to my local store and pick it up or get it in 2 days on Amazon, that's the way I'm going. To me, you have to have an incentive for me to buy to you, and price is it.
So I can't help but suspect that the item that you have in your head right now is a video game.
Generally. Or Video games, entertainment related.
So you're saying that anything entertainment, video game related, you would never pay the same price for used as you can go get new?
No, that's silly. Why would you do that? If I can buy it new,
That's a fair assessment.
If I can buy it new for the same price or less, why would I buy it used?
So you think that sellers, this is my assumption, correct me if I'm wrong, but
Let me say this. If I'm going to eBay for a used item, I can't get it on Amazon or Walmart.
So you would only buy it used if you can't get it new someplace else?
Yeah.
What if you get a substantially better price for a used item?
In good condition, I would take the used item.
But not for the same price as new?
No. That's silly to me. I don't see why anybody does it. I've seen YouTube or eBay sales where that has happened, and I don't understand it.
When you search for items on eBay, do you filter out new or used items?
No, generally not.
Do you filter anything when you search items, or do you just reshuffle your search? And when I say filter, I'm talking about on the sidebar
The
where
left
you
side?
can, so that you can click the boxes like only include new or only include like the filtering options with the item specifics that eBay gives you. Do you ever check mark those boxes?
No, the only thing I might check on there is see what has recently sold, maybe for a price history. But no.
Oh, so you will filter for sold items.
On occasion.
On occasion?
To see what the going rate for things are.
If you think that the price is maybe a little too high?
Yeah.
But only in that circumstance.
Only in that circumstance. Otherwise, I'm not touching those items over there. Or the check boxes or whatever.
So you essentially just use
Search bar.
keywords in the search bar, and then you reshuffle based on lowest price and ending soonest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's some good information.
Are you having questions?
No, I was trying to think of how to word this one question. So one of the questions I had was, are you willing to pay more for an item with a more professional looking listing? And I know that there were some stipulations on that, but my question would be, how much more are you willing to pay for a more professional looking listing?
That's a good question. If I'm going between two items that are similarly priced, I'll hit the more professional looking one.
What if it costs 20% more? But let's say, let me give you a little bit more specifics. Let's say you have one item that, let's call it a $20 price point, roughly $20 price point. Let's say you have one seller that has 4 photos, they're pretty decent, you can see the item, versus a really professional looking photo with a whole bunch of feedback. We're talking like 10,000 plus.
If it's 20 versus 24 or 25 bucks essentially.
Mm-hmm. Say $20 for a smaller seller with decent photos, it's okay, but it's $20 versus a seller with uber professional, template, lots of feedback, really good photos. Would you be willing to pay $25 for that same item?
Yeah, possibly. Possibly, depending on what it is. Yeah, 20% of 20 bucks or 10 bucks, when you really think about it, is only a couple bucks more. It's not a big deal.
You're willing to pay more though if you have kind of the satisfaction of knowing that that seller is good at what they do.
Yes. If I would have to say so, I would say yes to that. Because that is, to me, kind of showing that appeal of this is a real business. If you've taken the time to make a good item description versus, hey, this is the item, it's used, 20 bucks, versus what I have here is this item, this is a little bit about it, and most people who do those kind of things, they just have a stock little paragraph they'll put in there, or they'll rip it off from somebody else, but it does show that you care about what you're listing a little bit, when you actually put the time in there to make it a little bit more visually appealing.
Would you feel any differently if I told you that a lot of those big sellers that have those fancy descriptions, it's all a template that they really put no heart and soul into?
I know that for the most part. And I get the scam. I get it. I get it. We all know how marketing works.
But you're more inclined to go ahead and pay more for a business that looks like a more legitimate company.
Generally. Yeah, again, that goes back to the feedback thing. The way you set that up, somebody with minimal feedback versus somebody with thousands of feedback. Okay, I'm going to trust probably the person who has more feedback. I mean, that's just the way it is.
So that right there tells me, and this, of course, this portion of this discussion is not meant to
knock the low sellers.
Yeah, it's not as a way of saying if you're a smaller seller and you don't have that feedback to back you up and you don't have the most professional looking listings compared to someone who's been on the platform for 20 years and has, more than 10,000 feedback, this portion is kind of more to solidify the idea that if you're a smaller seller, that there is more of a speed bump, really, to your growth.
Yeah.
It is a lot tougher. Is it impossible? No. That's why I'm trying to
grow over time.
I'm trying to kind of dig into his thought process a little bit so I can try to find out what a small seller can do to compete with those. Is it price? Is it photos? Do you care knowing that you're supporting a small work from home seller versus a big company?
You might put that in your item description.
Like maybe have in the description, thank you for helping support my small home business.
I would be more often to possibly click on that and buy from that. Yes,
That's a really good takeaway.
But on the basic level, especially for newer eBay buyers like myself, I mean, I don't buy frequently. I buy occasionally, randomly, not every month, not every week. Nobody on eBay wants to get scammed. And if your listing looks like a scam, me personally, I'm closing out of it. If it gives the appearance of legitimacy, I will stay there longer. I will give it an honest look. But if it's a stock photo, if the description is random and not good, I'm going away. If it looks lazy, I'm probably going to click out of it. If you didn't put much time in it, you're not serious about your business, I'm going to click out of it. Nobody wants to be scammed. And it was the same thing with Craigslist or any of those other selling platforms. You take a look at it and you go, oh man, I don't have a good warm fuzzy about that. No, staying away from that thing.
So now here's another question that I have that I didn't write down, but it stems off of what you just said. If something is too cheap, is that a red flag for you?
Yes. Like on eBay or Facebook Marketplace, especially on Facebook Marketplace, I've seen, with the whole PS5 things now, I'm looking for one, but I'm not going to pay a scalper $700 for a $500 system. But I've seen multiple ones that were like $475 or $400, and I'm like, no, there's no way that's a real deal, because that's less than what they paid for it. Because you're not going to meet some random stranger, or that's more of a Facebook Marketplace thing. You're not going to meet a random stranger with something that's too good to be true. With eBay, it's kind of the same thing. If they have stock photos when it's too good to be true, that's probably a scam in my opinion. But if they had a real photo of it, maybe. But if it was a stock photo and a low price that was really low, no, because I don't know what condition that thing is in.
How does a thank you card in your package make you feel?
I like it. So, more likely to leave positive feedback. If I get a thank you card and something was minute wrong with it, I am more likely to leave positive feedback because they tried.
That was actually a secondary part of that question is, if you're frustrated with the transaction, does a thank you card help at all? Does it help you be a little less angry?
Yes. If it said...
Or less likely to leave a negative
again,
or neutral.
if something was wrong and I got that card in there that said, thank you for your business, if you have any issues, feel free to contact me. Okay, then I'm more likely to contact. It's similar to an email. An email would be the same way. Not an email that was begging for feedback, but and I've got that a few times. An email that just simply says, thank you for your order. Here's who we are. If you have any questions or if there was anything wrong with your order, feel free to contact me first. It doesn't even have to say before you leave feedback, just feel free to contact me and I will resolve it the best way I can.
Okay. And the last question that I have written down is, do you ever go in and look at feedback comments before making a purchase? Ever? And because that takes an extra step. You have to actually go find the comments. I used to, but not really much anymore, because most of the comments are basically good eBayer, on time, good shipping. You're not going to wade through a bunch. It depends on how many comments you have, but most of the comments are all the same. Arrived on time, in good condition. What if the seller has 90% feedback? I don't even look at that point. You wouldn't even think to buy.
No, I would think to buy, but I wouldn't look at the comments.
You wouldn't look at the comments?
It's not if they have 90%. It depends on how many. If they have 1,000 comments at 90%, well, clearly they know what they're doing and they're good. But if they have 10 comments at 90%, that means 1 out of 10 was bad.
I'm hesitant to even like what to say because it's kind of funny that you have that logic, because for a seller to have 1,000 or more feedback and have 90%, that's actually very bad.
Not to me.
Because
to eBay that's bad, but to me that's not bad.
Because by that point, because the feedback percentage is based off of a 12-month performance. Mm-hmm. And if a seller has thousands of feedback and they still have 90%, that means they pissed off a lot of buyers.
9 times out of 10, I'm not going to be one of those people.
So that right there tells me that a typical buyer has no idea how bad a 90% can be with a high feedback score.
Or we just don't care.
Or you just don't care.
Or we just don't care. Or what we feel, eBay is out of touch with what we feel. If I see a 90% feedback score on anything, that's a good bet most days. 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna come out positive on that. 10%?
Yeah, because an eBayer could drop down to 95% and be upset about it.
Well, that goes back to like in business, you have 6 Sigma. You can only have 1 part defect per 6 million or something like that. That's unrealistic. You know, some people are just going to have a bad day and it's not going to be exactly like they want. They're going to leave negative feedback. You can't control that. I mean, but as long as 90% is good enough for me. Anything above probably 85, 87%, I'm not really thinking about it.
I would never buy from a seller with 87% feedback.
Yeah, different between a woman and a guy, I guess. I just don't care.
Or a seller and a buyer.
Yeah, possibly.
Because as a seller, I know how many screw-ups you have to get in order to get 87%. Unless you had like 10 feedback and you got like 2 negatives and it completely ruined your year.
Yeah. When
you're just getting started. But if you have a substantial amount of numerical feedback points and you have a percentage of 87,
but it could also
you
be,
screwed up a lot.
It also depends on what you're selling. You know? If you have a huge store of things, you are more likely to have 1 or 2 screw up. Versus if you sell one thing and you sell hundreds of thousands of that one thing, that means you have a product defect. There's a difference. I mean, if for example, you sell cosmetics, right? Mm-hmm. Okay? You send out 40 packages and the mail mishandles a few of them. That's not on you. But it gets to them bad, so they possibly leave you negative feedback. I mean, versus if you're, like I said, if you're selling one thing, then that's everything on there is pretty much on you.
And you think about that as a buyer.
I'm over analytical about certain things. but again, this goes back to the 85, 87, 90%. I don't care. I really don't.
So you heard it here. A typical buyer doesn't really care about your feedback score, so maybe we shouldn't stress out about it so much.
If there's enough of it and it's good enough. If I see a few thousand reviews and they got a 90, that's essentially 4 stars out of 5. Well, hell, 80% is 4 stars out of 5. A 90% would be 4.5 stars. If you go to Amazon and see 4.5 stars, you're probably going to buy it. If you see 4 stars, you're probably going to buy it. A 4 star out of 5 is an 80%. Think about that. A 4 star is 80%. You're still going to buy it if there's good enough reviews. Of course, you're probably going to look at the negative reviews. When you hit about 4 stars, you're going to go to the negative reviews and take a look what people say. And then you're going to also look at the recent reviews and see what people say recently. But 4 stars is good enough for me. 80%.
All right, well, that's all the questions that I had. Is there anything that you, as a buyer, would want a seller to know about your shopping experience? What's important to you?
If you're selling things new, Amazon and Walmart are your competition. You cannot be priced the same or higher than them. Because if you are, I'm going somewhere else.
So if it was the same price on Amazon, you're more likely to buy Amazon?
Generally. Especially if on eBay you don't offer free shipping. If it's brand new, same price as Amazon with $3.95 shipping,
But what if the price with the shipping is the same as Amazon?
I generally don't go to eBay for new things. I generally go to eBay for used or collectibles.
Unless you can get a much better price on a new item.
I don't generally look for eBay for new items. If I happen to come across it, that's a different story. But I consider eBay a used item website or a collector's item website.
Dang.
But again, I'm a guy. I'm not a typical eBay user. I know ladies go to eBay for lots of stuff that a guy wouldn't. I just don't go there. Maybe I should, maybe I don't.
Would you feel differently if there was not Amazon Prime shipping?
Absolutely.
So because of Amazon Prime shipping, you're more likely to go to Amazon for new stuff than eBay.
Maybe eBay should offer an Amazon Prime style thing for their shipping and just pay for shipping for everybody. You know, you have eBay Excellence, eBay Prime, whatever the heck they want to call it, where you don't have to pay shipping on anything.
So am I correct in the assumption that the speed of shipping is incredibly important for you?
Yes.
So
I've had a few things I bought on eBay that took 3 weeks to get here, and I was like, what the hell? If it's getting over a week, I'm starting to question at that point, because most mail should be here. Now, talking about the mail has, within the last 6 to 8 months, has been atrocious, and I understand that. Like, it has been bad, B-A-D, bad. Tons of people are getting their stuff late. I get that. But if I'm paying for shipping, it better come with a tracking number so I can track it. I mean, I've gotten a few things that have gotten lost in the mail, but it had definitely better come with a tracking number. If I'm paying for shipping, it needs a tracking number.
Well, thank you very much for all of your insight. Is there anything else that you wanted to add?
If you're selling used items, don't use stock photos. Well, in my opinion, real photos, because if you're buying something used, you want to be able to see exactly the condition it's in. I will not buy something used with a stock photo because I cannot tell exactly what that item condition is in. Won't do it.
What if there is only 1 or 2 photos of the item?
A front and a back, or a side view, or something.
Again, you're probably just thinking about video games.
Well, no, I'm talking about things in general.
Like, do you want a lot of detailed photos? Would you scroll through them if they were there?
It would depend on the item. But if it's used, I want to be able to see it. Relatively up close, not from far away. It needs to be up there.
Would you ever buy used deodorant?
No.
Worn socks?
Socks? No. Shirts and pants? Possibly. You can wash those.
You don't want to buy dirty socks on eBay?
Socks? No. I bought some cool shirts on eBay. Some pants.
Did you know that people make money on selling dirty, worn socks on eBay?
Clearly, there are weird people all over the world.
How often are you willing to go to eBay to fulfill your fetishes?
0. They make special shops for that.
Okay, this conversation is over. Thank you guys
We're
so
cutting
much.
that last bit out,
Yes,
by the way.
that's getting cut out. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Feel free to cheer on my husband in the comment section and let me know if you want to see more videos with him in them, because...
Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm screwing up. Say, hey, that's just a bad take, man.
Also, remember to check the video description. I will put a lot of useful information in there for you. And feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell. That way you know whenever I post a new video. Thank you again so much for watching, and we'll see you with the next video.
Bye.
Bye.
Cut that out. Just put that out at the end. That's getting cut out.